Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, the #1 YouTube channel for you to level up your communication skills, learn the art of public speaking, social skills, and personal branding to take your message to the world. For today's episode, we're going to be talking about how you can unlock your inner genius. So for communication skills, your mindset is going to play a huge factor. That's why for my first ever book, I wasn't talking about public speaking, social skills, personal branding, etc. I was talking about the mindset. Because once you take an effort to fix your mindset, then what you start realizing is that communicating becomes much, much easier. One of the best ways to improve your mindset is to be different. Not normal, not regular, not good, but great. And one of the best ways to become great is by striving for genius level. Wait, Armani, I'm not a good test taker. You don't have to be. A genius is defined as someone who has supreme intellectual or creative abilities. Most of the time, we ignore that second part of the definition. We just talk about intellectual, so much to a point we define a genius based off of someone who scores very high on the IQ exam. That's it. But in reality, anyone can become a genius if you know how to target it the right way, if you have a strategy. Because at the end of the day, humans are born creative and logic is ingrained. Today's video is going to give you a very practical strategy on how to unlock your inner genius so you can dominate your field. Dominate it so much to a point where you are known for this. There's no competition. You are your only competition. And everyone else just looks at you in awe. They're thinking, how does this person always think of new ideas like this? It's because you are gifted. I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that in today's episode. So if you're excited, make sure you drop a like for me right on below. My first ever brush with intelligence came in the second grade. That's when I took the IQ exam. I don't remember my score, but I do remember after I took the exam, I went up to my teacher and I was like, so what's next? How do I study so I can improve this score? And she looked at me and she was like, well, typically what you get on the IQ exam is what you keep. Not many people improve it much further. So then I was like, so are you telling me that intelligence is fixed? And you could tell that was a way too broad question for her. And she was just like, no, I don't know. Yeah, it's fixed. Now, as an impressionable second grader, I took that answer and I went with it. I was like, all right, I guess intelligence is fixed. And for years and years, I had this kind of mindset. Up until a few years ago, I started to learn more about neuroscience and I started to learn about neuroplasticity. I'm not gonna go on a super detailed lecture about it, but this is basically when you can wire and fire new neural pathways into your existence because your brain is so malleable. It's able to be changed. Once I learned that, I was like, man, no way intelligence can be fixed. I can change and I can improve myself and improve my intelligence along the way. Now, fast forward a few more years to 2 weeks ago, I started to learn about the multiple intelligence theory. And the founder of this theory basically designed it because he felt as though that the IQ exam was too narrow. And he said that there are multiple ways to define intelligences and every human has a different field that they are proficient in. I'm not going to talk too much about all the different fields. I'll make a separate video on this. But a few of the types of intelligences that he talked about was kinesthetic intelligence. This is basically people who are very good with their bodies. Picture an amazing dancer, or even picture a neurosurgeon, a person who can do these precise surgeries. Another kind of intelligence he talked about was logical intelligence. This is the group of people that love rationale. Picture amazing debaters. Another kind of intelligence was intrapersonal intelligence. And this is the group of people who are very self-aware. They can analyze their present and their past to make more strategic decisions for the future. Another kind of intelligence was interpersonal intelligence. And this is the kind of people that are very good with people. Picture event planners. And I remember as I was going through it, one thing that I saw that stuck out was a different type of intelligence called Linguistics Intelligence. Well, this was basically a person that can use words, whether it's verbal or written, to communicate a message to solve a problem. And I was like, wait, this exists? I mean, this whole time, that's what the ArmaniTalks brand is all about. But I didn't know it was a kind of intelligence. But yes, it was. And once I started to realize this, I started to realize that we're all intelligent in different ways. If you were to just analyze myself on how good of an exam taker I am, then I wouldn't win. But if you were to analyze myself in terms of communicating, then that's something I could dominate because I've built my entire brand around it. Public speaking, social skills, writing, blogging, etc. So what you want to start asking yourself is, what am I good at? Or what do I want to get good at? I highly recommend you check out the multiple intelligence theory. You do your own research on it and you start getting more ideas in what you can be proficient in. Because every human, our brains are very, very plastic. It's able to change. And once you decide and commit to the process, then you start realizing that, I can actually change. 10 years ago, if you told me that I'd be teaching people all around the world communication skills, I would be like, nah, no way. But nowadays, that's exactly what I do because my brain was able to change and it was able to evolve. So what you want to start asking yourself is, what am I intelligent in? What do I want to become intelligent in? But better yet, what do I want to become great in? When you see the multiple intelligence theory, you may want to jump the gun and say, I want to get great at everything. And trust me, eventually you can. But my strategy for you is choose one thing to get really, really great at. And once you start becoming great at it, it'll become much easier to get great at something else. Because realize this, once you're becoming great at something, you're developing a lot of micro skills along the way. You're learning how to control your emotions much better, how to set deadlines, and so on and so on. So when you're trying to get great at something else, it's much easier. But let's do the opposite. If you try to get great at everything from the beginning, then you will just quit. So pick one thing and try to excel at it. So that's the first part of the strategy. Really narrow down on what you want to improve. The second part of the strategy is learning how to learn. I made a video on this recently. I highly recommend that you check it out. But in a summary, there's 4 stages of learning. And the first 3 stages are very, very logical because it's very robotic. It's repetitive. You're just doing the same move over and over and over again, trying to master the fundamentals. And the 4th stage is when it becomes a subconscious act. It becomes ingrained within you. All right, so you want to go all the way from stage 1 to stage 4. Keep on practicing until the act is autopilot. You don't need to think about it too much. It's a part of you, sort of like driving, typing, brushing your teeth. It is a part of you. But here's where people go wrong. When people are able to do the task on autopilot, they think that, oh, well, I figured it all out. But here's what separates normal people from a genius. A genius is able to actually use all those concepts and able to create something brand new. So picture a dancer. Picture 2 dancers actually. One dancer learns how to dance and now is able to dance on autopilot. But what this individual does is they basically get choreographed moves and they just execute it. They're not creating any moves. They're just learning how to take orders very well. This is a gift on its own, but they're not creating anything. The second group of people learn how to dance. They learn how to do it on autopilot, but this time what they do is they start designing their own moves that have never been created before, and they start executing it themselves. This group has shown creativity, and creativity is what separates a smart person from a genius. So the third part of this whole strategy that I'm giving you is, how do you leverage creativity? How do you do it? Well, you have to understand that anyone can become very, very creative. And in order to become creative, you have to understand that your brain is operating in a completely different way. A creative person knows how to engage all parts of their brain, while the normal person just executes it one at a time. I'm not going to give you a huge science lecture right now, but there's two sides of the brain that's involved in creativity. The default mode network, and this is when your mind is just wandering. Picture yourself daydreaming. And the second part is the task positive network. Task positive network is when you are able to focus. On, off. Picture it like a light switch. For most people, it is like a light switch. Either their mind is wandering or they're able to focus. But for the creative person, they're able to combine it. They're able to have their mind wandering and they're able to focus. Now, this is a very counterintuitive notion for you to even picture. So Armani, you're telling me that the light switch is on and off at the same time? That doesn't make any sense. Aha! Creativity is not supposed to make sense. That's what makes it creative in the first place. But let me tell you how this works. So typically, when your mind is wandering, most people, they just brush it off. They're like, oh, well. But the creative person, they realize that they're getting a lot of different thoughts, right? But they're able to focus in on those thoughts. They're able to gather those thoughts. They're able to connect those thoughts, and they're able to produce practical solutions with those thoughts. Something completely out of the norm that hasn't been designed before, they're able to create. So their mind is wandering, but they're focused at the same damn time. Armani, how do I do this? You do this by understanding that you can do it, and then you start practicing for your own given skill set. So for me, for example, I practice all the time. You know those YouTube videos? I don't prepare ahead of time. I literally just click record and I begin. One of my friends is like, bro, you shouldn't say that you don't prepare. Why not? That's my competitive advantage. Most communicators, they need days and days to prepare, plan. I can do it automatically. So for you, say you want to become an amazing chef. Well, what you should do is you should take some time to learn your craft, get good at it, keep making the fundamentals over and over again. Keep repeating it over and over again until you have the neural pathways. Eventually, you'll be able to cook a lot of recipes on autopilot. And that's when your mind is going to start becoming rewired. You'll always have different cooking ideas. And instead of ignoring those ideas, what you should do is you should gather those ideas. And then you should bring it into reality. Either write it down or speak it into existence, and then find different ways to connect it. I know for a fact, if you are someone who's been cooking for a long time, that you've experimented with your own dish. Well, that right there is a form of creativity. So you just want to keep on doing it over and over again. And the more that you're able to do it, the more you're able to do task positive network and default mode network at the same damn time. Eventually, it's at a point where it's not just on and off, on and off. It's like this for the rest of your life. You start thinking creatively on autopilot. You start acting like a genius in your own field on autopilot. So ultimately, I give you a lot of information, so let's break it down piece by piece. What you have to understand is that there are a lot of different intelligences. So stage one is that you want to pick what you want to get good at. You want to become a genius level at this, and you're committing to the process. Realize this, if you're just going to half-ass it, then don't even bother. You're going to quit. A genius is someone who is very, very good at their craft. They don't just have raw talent. They have skills because they practiced a lot. So stage one is to commit to what you want to become great in. Stage two is to keep on practicing until you can do the act on autopilot. And stage three is to combine the default mode network and the task positive network, where your mind is able to wander, generate new ideas, and you're able to lock into those ideas, connect them, and create something new into existence. This is all a process. Take it stage by stage. But I guarantee you, eventually what's going to happen is your confidence is going to rise. You're going to start seeing, whoa, I'm really, really good at this. And people are telling me I'm really, really good at this. But even if they didn't tell me that I was good at it, I know I am. I'm gifted. I'm great. And you want to keep on having this mindset over and over again. Once you become great at one thing, it starts to spill over into other parts of your life. And you start having this spillover effect where your mindset is now enhanced. And nowadays, when you enter a social interaction, for example, you start having a renewed self-image of yourself. You feel yourself. You're like, yo, I'm the shit. I respect that. I'm not being cocky or anything, but I've put in the work and I'm the shit. That's a good thing. So put in the work though. It's not just gonna happen on its own. No one's gonna be like, all right, well, here's the genius level. You have to strive for it, but ignore all that stuff you heard about before about you need a good test score. That's a different kind of intelligence. If you're a good test taker, I'm not knocking you, but it's completely different. It's different lanes, all right? Picture it like that. You need to start investing in your creativity. You need to do it ASAP because this video is getting pretty long, so I want to give you one final insight. But I've worked as an engineer for a very, very long time. And before I left my last job, I wrote a script, right? I wrote a script to automate a process. Well, a few weeks ago, I got a call from a coworker who said that script got 2 people fired. And don't worry about them, they got new jobs. But what this went on to show is that if your job, if they can make a procedure for it, trust me, it will be automated. Most people, what they think is that the future is going to have physical robots. No, dummy. The robots are already here, and it's known as software. It's known as scripts from PowerShell. So start investing in your creativity because the more jobs that get automated, the more and more that you need to rely on your creativity. Because I guarantee you, no script, no computer will ever be able to write poetry, will never be able to tell a story. That's only a right reserved for humans. So start leveraging your creativity, start entering the genius realm, start improving your mindset, and your communication skills will follow up with you. If today's video helps you and you want more practical insights into the world of creativity, check out the Armani Archives Confidence, Mindset, and Creativity Edition in the description box right on below. Hit the link and seal your copy today. Thank you, my friend, for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel, and I'll catch you on the next episode.